Hello, my brothers and sisters in gaming. Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your host, Jonathan. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Quick Bird News. For this week's episode, we're covering the week of 27 April to 3 May. And boy, was it was a chaotic week in the games industry. So we got a couple of big stories to touch on, so I better get into it. Okay, clearly the biggest news of the week is the fact that GTA 6 has been delayed. And this article published by Eurogamer on Friday, May 2nd, they say they have delayed the launch to 2026. It is now set to release on 26th of May. So a little over a year from now as of the making of this video. And will release on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. Whoa, I scrolled over too far. And I will not be on PC initially, but I'm sure it will show up on PC later. So that's kind of where we sit now. In a statement, they said, "We are very sorry this is later than expected. With the game, when every game released, the goal has always been try to make and exceed expectations. We need time to deliver at the level of quality, blah, 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 blah." Okay, it's a typical corporate speak. This is nothing unexpected. So this is the facts that they are now going to delay it. It had been talked. They've been talking about releasing this fall. In fact, they had said that last year, and even as late as February. I did a video on it some weeks back where I mentioned that they had reiterated they were planning on releasing it this fall, and now they have pushed it back about 6 months. Makes me wonder if I'm sure they knew this was coming because according to this article over in Jamatsu on Tuesday, April 29th, Borderlands 4 has had its release date moved up to September 12th. So they moved it forward a couple weeks. If they already knew they were going to delay GTA, the idea of pushing this forward to give it a couple extra weeks to work, I think was probably always in the making. So this was released, and this was met with mixed reactions. Some people were happy for the idea that we finally had a set date, but also Take-Two stocks, according to this GameRate article published on Saturday, May 3rd, Take-Two stock takes big hit after GTA 6 delay. They say it dropped nearly 11%. Take-Two plans to rely on upcoming releases like Borderlands 4 and Mafia: The Old Country to offset the short-term impact. And if you look at the stock ticker, you can see they had a big plunge here on Friday after the announcement. And they were down about 8% for the week, but I guess 11% day-over-day drop there. And this is interesting to me, just in the sense that I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of theories as to why they're doing this. Clearly, the corporate message is we just want to make sure we deliver a quality game. We want to make sure we deliver the best polished product we can deliver. And maybe. But I've seen some other theories as to why this is happening. The one that kind of stuck with me that I couldn't quite shake off is the idea that with Nintendo now buffing up to $80 games, and there's going to be another issue related to that we're going to touch on in just a second, GTA 6, Rockstar and Take-Two are going to delay GTA 6 and let the player base get used to $80 games before they go ahead and buff up to $90 or $100, because that was their plan. That's the theory I have heard. It's kind of like the idea of the frog in the boiling pot of water. You don't boil the frog all at once. You just slowly turn up the temperature and let him get used to it. And by the time he realizes it's boiling, he's already cooked. Well, we might be cooked in that case, because I just wonder if they are. There's been a lot of speculation that they want to release this at $100, and I wonder if that's what they are thinking of doing. If so, I've said my thoughts on this before. I don't think it matters what you price GTA 6 at. $70, $80, $90, $100. People are going to buy tons of it. But if $100 games becomes the norm, not everybody is going to be GTA 6. The games like Assassin's Creed are not going to sell the numbers they sold at that level. The games like Space Marines 2 are not going to sell what they sold at that level. What $100 games will do will be ultimately put more money in the hands of a select few of beloved franchises and squeeze out a lot of other people. There's just only so much gaming money to go around. So I can get into that in greater depth later, but that's the reality. Anyway, so don't know if that's the true case or not. I don't know if that theory is in fact right. They may just be delaying it because they haven't worked out all the kinks and they want it to get it right. Whatever happens, we do know now they have a release date set. Like I said a minute ago, it's a little over a year from now. So I guess in the absence of another trailer or teaser or anything like that, we'll find out next year. Yeah, this is what I was talking about a minute ago. This article from Video Games Chronicle, published on Thursday, 1 May. Microsoft is raising prices on Xbox consoles with games to hit $80 this year. Series X and Series S going up by $180 respectively in the US. And then they announced they will also start charging $80 for games later this year. We understand these changes are challenging, blah, blah, blah. Get out of here. I don't want to hear it. It's a bunch of malarkey. Now and down, you can scroll down and see the changes to the price structures in the US. I'll leave that on screen for a second. And then for the UK, they're on the UK, and also for the European Union. So those are the changes that are coming to Xbox consoles and the peripherals. We knew this was going to happen. The first domino has fallen. Nintendo started this, and now here, just in a matter of weeks, here comes Microsoft. Now, I think this is amusing personally. I don't think Xbox has the cachet to be doing this with their console sales. They've been losing ground steadily to Sony for years for the PS4 and PS5, and I think the only thing that might keep them competitive is the fact that Sony announced, or maybe has already done so, that they're going to be jacking up PS5 prices too. But here we are, $80 games. Thanks, Nintendo. Thanks, Microsoft. Good work. Adding to this week's chaos is this article from Insider Gaming, also published on Thursday, 1 May. Polygon has been sold with mass layoffs hitting the outlet. It's been around since 2012. It was purchased. Many of its staff have been let go in a wave of layoffs. It has been sold by Vox Media to Valnet, the same parent company of other outlets such as The Gamer and GameRant. And shortly after the report went live, many staff members of Polygon took to social media to announce they were no longer with the company. You could have seen the handwriting on the wall for this a long time ago. Polygon has taken up some very contrarian positions in the past, including its being a primary opposition to the original Gamergate. Now, I'm not really concerned if you think Gamergate was or was not a legitimate movement, or they were right or wrong. The idea that as a games media outlet, you're going to take a stand against the opinions of a wide swath of your primary readership and customer base does not bode well for your long-term future. It's no different than being a vegan, working in a steak restaurant. If you want to be vegan, that's your life. You go live it. But how long are you going to last working at a steakhouse? Probably not very long. It's just too great a conflict of interest, and that's all that happened here. So there have been a bunch of layoffs. There's no word on the long-term future of the website, what they're going to do, if they're going to remake it, if they're going to roll it into their existing outlets, or if they're just going to shut it down. But in any event, Polygon is, as it existed, is no more. And pour one out for the fallen, I guess. And then we have this article from GameSpot, which was published on Tuesday, April 29th. Titanfall game reportedly canceled at Respawn amid wider EA shakeup. EA Electronic Arts has confirmed layoffs at Apex Legends developer Respawn, cancellation of 2 incubation projects. About 100 people have been affected by the changes. More widely, EA is making cuts that affect many people. According to Bloomberg, said between 300 and 400 people are losing their jobs at EA, including the 100 at Respawn. So, you see these companies tightening their belts, and just another round of layoffs going on. And it wasn't just Titanfall at Respawn that was affected by this. You have this article from GameRant that was published just yesterday on the 3rd of May on Saturday, that Codemasters at EA is also going to be having some layoffs. And they said that it wouldn't be renewing its World Rally Championship license, which was the basis for its WRC series. And they're looking at layoffs there too. So, like I said, between 300 and 400 people at EA, they're just trimming down. They're trying to save money. Don't be surprised if they jack up their games to $80 too. We're in for some real rough times in the games industry overall. It's getting harder and harder to see, for these big companies to make games and to keep employing all these people. The future may lie in companies like Sandfall, that made Clair Obscur Expedition 33 on a small budget with a small team, 30 people, and has sold over 1 million copies. Or Warhorse Studios, They made Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, small team, $40 million budget, but sold over 4 million copies. This might be the future of gaming going forward, because it doesn't seem like the current model is sustainable. More and more layoffs and more projects being canceled and prices going up. Like I said, chaos. Next, we have this somewhat sad story from Game Rant, published on Friday, 2nd of May. Sackboy has seemingly been fired by PlayStation. He was removed from the PlayStation Productions intro card with the release of Until Dawn, and people have expressed concern about his future appearances. So, originally released in 2008 on the PS3, Little Big Planet, was a physics-based thing, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Players were represented in Little Big Planet by customizable brown ragdolls called Sack People, and in promotional appearances for Sony products, this character appeared. Now, apparently with the release of the Until Dawn film, that's no longer the case. See, Sackboy is absent from PlayStation Productions title card. This is from the 2023 version of Gran Turismo, and here you can see the sock puppet down here. And you go down to All Stars, or to Until Dawn, and he's no longer there. And some fans have expressed some discontent about this, as kind of a beloved mascot is no longer part of the Sony model. The game, The Little Big People, that featuring these brown ragdoll things, was actually delisted from the store a couple years ago. And mum's the word, no idea if he's going to return. But for now, Sackboy has been sacked, and we'll have to see what happens. Alright, this one was just disappointing. This article from Dual Shockers from Friday, 2nd May. Chrono Trigger remake may have been leaked by the creator, and essentially this story goes down to say that at the Naples Comic Convention, Comic-Con in Italy on Friday, Yuji Horii, the maker of Dragon Quest, the creator of Dragon Quest, and the writer behind the original Chrono Trigger, apparently had said something that led people to believe that Chrono Trigger remake was in the works, and everybody immediately spun up and got excited. And then not so fast, on Saturday, this one from Insider Gaming, sorry, but the Chrono Trigger remake isn't happening. While speaking on a panel in Naples, an interpreter translated something Horii had said, leading everyone to believe the remake was being pieced together. The original source came from a Reddit user who claimed they were at the event and heard firsthand what the interpreter had to say. Unfortunately, a Twitch clip that highlighted the moment Horii was interviewed in Naples, and translators have confirmed he said nothing of the sort about a Chrono Trigger remake. So, build our hopes up and then slam them back into the floor. Not chaotic, but again, just disappointing. I'm going to start wrapping this up. As you might be able to tell in my background, it's getting lighter in here because the sun's coming up, so it means I'm going to have to go start my day. But I want to end with two kind of good news stories. The first one is from Games Radar, which is from Tuesday, April 29th. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 lead writer says chances are good the JRPG banger gets DLC at some point. Now, they don't directly confirm that they're working on a DLC for this game, but they do say, I'm going to scroll down here, as reported by Vice, Jennifer Svenberg-Bien replied to Instagram message from players asking about the potential for DLC, and what she said was encouraging. She made it clear there aren't any plans yet. However, nothing concrete that I can say in the moment. We're just trying to process everything that happened. It's been a lot to take in. We've always said that if there is a strong desire from the players that we would love to do something more, and based on response so far, I'd say chances are good. So it seems like Sandfall is open to the idea of doing DLC for this game that has been such a kind of a runaway hit based on expectations, and that's a good thing. I hope the gamers who are really enjoying this game can get some more meat to sink their teeth into. Last, I'll just mention this article from Eurogamer from Monday, 28 April. Elden Ring sales passed 30 million, and that has been just one of the best sustained success stories in gaming in recent years, and I love to see it. And From Software wrote, "Dear Tarnished, 30 million Tarnished, thank you." And it says that in December, FromSoft revealed Elden Ring had shifted 28.6 million copies worldwide, outselling the entire Dark Souls series prior to Elden Ring's release. So it's been more successful than the rest of all the other Dark Souls games put together. I know it's not actually a Dark Souls game, but then the entire series put together. And then they said in the last few months they've done another 1.4 million copies, and they've gone over 30 million. Again, I like to see an ongoing success story in the gaming industry when we have so few of them for a game that is so beloved, that so many players really enjoy. I like to see games that have a wide swath of appeal and success, because like I said, we just don't see it that often, and so I'm glad when it does happen. Congratulations to FromSoft for their success, and it's nice to end on kind of a positive note today. Okay, that's the end of this week's bout of chaos in the gaming news industry. Seems like every week we're always in for another roller coaster. But I appreciate you tuning in for another episode of QuickBird News. Thank you for doing so. If you enjoyed this content, please consider leaving a like on the video. Drop a comment below. Tell me what I didn't cover, what I should have that was important this week, or what I got wrong. Or please consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoy this content. I appreciate all of those of you who do any of these things. All the engagement really helps. Insert all the standard YouTube or phrase work in this segment. So anyway, I'm going to go leave it here. Go get to work. Thank you all for tuning in. Everyone, go out and live your best lives. And y'all stay gaming.